Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to my modded 1.12.2 series. Today we are going to be finishing up our industrial farm over here in this building. We're going to set up a whole bunch of garden cloches and a few bonsai trees in order to produce all these resources that we had been producing in our two forestry farms that we had set up. One of them used to be where this building is now. And we're going to automate it all so that it just produces the stuff that we need and then stops producing when we have enough, which is actually going to be pretty easy because we're just going to use storage drawers, and when the storage drawers are full, it's just not going to produce anymore. And we're also going to do a few finishing touches on this build once we're done with that. Like, for instance, I'm going to automate this door so that it opens and closes when we come up to it automatically, without using pressure plates. We'll do something a little bit more sophisticated than that, something that will just detect our presence. These doors, by the way, are MacLeod doors. They're custom doors that I made in the door factory by placing some black terracotta here and some glass. Garden Cloche. This is a very, very powerful single block farm. It actually takes up 2 blocks vertically, but it's has a single block footprint farm that automatically generates the outputs of your crops, and it's really easy to set up and really easy to automate. It doesn't even take very much power or water to produce, and it's normally actually pretty cheap. However, in this pack I did make it a little bit more expensive by adding this greenhouse glass, but normally it just takes glass here, this vacuum tube, and iron mechanical component, which is just a bunch of iron plates and copper, and some treated wood. Now the vacuum tube is probably the most complicated part to make because it's going to require the engineer's workbench, which we have over here from Immersive Engineering, and it's going to require this particular engineer's blueprint. It's one of the blueprints that we can craft. So there are 3 different blueprints that we can craft just in a regular crafting table, and it's the middle one here that we want to do. If we hold on the shift key, we'll see what we can produce with these different blueprints, and this one is the one that allows us to produce the vacuum tubes. So the vacuum tube is going to require some glass, some copper wires, and some redstone, so not particularly expensive. We're going to make about 7 of these things, 7 or 8 of these cloches, so we're going to end up having to make 9 vacuum tubes. We're going to need 3 glass, 6 copper wire, and 3 redstone. And by the way, I did add refined storage add-ons to this pack, which gives us a wireless crafting grid, which we can take everywhere. It also has an infinite wireless transmitter, which I also added. It requires another star, a couple of wireless transmitters, and an NROD and underpearl, all stuff that we had. It does take 1,000 RF per tick to use, but now we can have access to all our stuff everywhere we go. I also added the comforts mod, which adds these nice little sleeping bags. It also adds hammocks, which allow you to sleep the day away if you ever want it to be nighttime. So here's our engineer's workbench. We've got our blueprint in there. Once we put all the ingredients in there, we'll see it's showing us the different things that we can do in here. And there are our vacuum tubes. So our 9 vacuum tubes. Hooray! So that should be everything we need. Hooray! There we go. There's our garden cloches. We've got 7. I'm going to kind of stagger them out over here. I mean, of course, we could line them up all next to each other, but I just think it'll look a little nicer if we kind of do this sort of thing. There we go. There are 2 resources that we're going to need to pump into these things automatically. Actually, I don't want these turned this way. I want them... Whoops. I want them turned that way. We'll see why in a bit. Okay. So technically this is the front of the cloche. I'm turning it to the back just so that, because I think it looks nicer, we'll be able to see it, and plus we're going to be hooking up some pipes. So this is our output. We're going to be pulling stuff from that point. We're going to be inputting water down here. I believe we can also input water on the sides. We're going to be putting power into the top, and we can pipe fertilizer into these things too, but I don't think we're going to need to do fertilizer because, as we'll see, these things are pretty freaking fast, even without the fertilizer. Right click on it, we have this GUI. There's our water storage. This is our fertilizer storage. We'll see how that works in a bit. This is where we put our foundation block. Depending on what we want to grow in each one of the garden cloches, we're going to put some kind of a block here. So for instance, if we want to grow most like regular Minecraft crops with seeds, we're going to just, actually we're only going to need 1 seed. We're going to put a piece of dirt in there and some seeds. So as we can see, the dirt is down there and the seeds are planted in the dirt. Right now, nothing's going to happen in there. Those seeds are just going to sit there stagnant until we get the power and water into this stuff. So to do water, I'm actually going to use an Immersive Engineering pump. We should have one laying around. And I'm just going to use a kitchen sink as a infinite water supply. It's a little bit cheaty, but whatever. I'm fine with that. And I'm going to stick it back in this corner. Like so. And we're going to take our engineer's hammer and we are going to right click twice so that we get an orange thing. So that means that that's output. It's automatically, these things will input from the bottom, and we're also going to need to put a lever on there. And of course I need JAI in order to craft a lever because that's how I go. And then we're going to need some pipes. Do we have any pipes? We do. Look at this. And we probably have enough. So it should automatically start pulling water from there and putting it... Nope, we have to give this a redstone signal, and then we'll see that this thing is now filling up with water. Hooray! Okay, so we have water going into all those guys. And we're going to pull power out of this guy. Input, output. So one wire connector is going to go up here. So if you don't know how these wire connectors work, basically we have wire connectors and we have wire relays in Immersive Engineering. The wire connectors are what we use to input and output. The wire relays are what we use just to connect from one wire to the next. The wire relays can have multiple wires connected to them, as we can see here. The wire connectors can only have one connected each. So that's why we're going to need both. So in this case, I'm going to put a connector there. I'm going to put a relay up on the ceiling here just so that we don't have wires hanging down in our face. And then I'll probably put, let's see, put like a relay there. What? That was weird. I'm going to put one relay there and we'll put one relay there. And then I'm going to put a bunch of connectors on the top. So I'm holding shift and space so that I can do this. A little trick Arcus taught me. Of course, I'm holding down shift so that I don't open the GUI, and I'm also holding down space so that I don't sync while I'm holding shift. There we go. We had just enough. Nice. Let me just right click and right click to connect that. And then that. And then again, since we can only do one each, that's why I've got these relays here so that I can then use this relay to connect all of these guys. Let's see, I think it'll look better if I do that one over here. Okay, so now we should see these guys are all filling up with power, little by little. So it'll take a little while for them all to fill up because this has a maximum transfer rate of 256 RF per tick, I believe. That's why I needed 2 of them for the solar panels. I've got these solar panels up here, and they're producing a little bit more than 256, I think like 300 something. And you can see we are already growing some wheat over here. And you can see how fast it's growing. This is without fertilizer. We can make this grow even faster by adding fertilizer. We're not going to need to, honestly. And then it just puts the output in here. So we got some seeds, we got some wheat. All right, we already got 6 wheat. Just from the time that I hooked up that power cable, we already got 6 wheat and 3 seeds. So you can see these things are really, really freaking OP. So the way that, actually, we'll take a look at how the fertilizer works later when we get into some crops that we might want to grow a little bit faster. So for now, mostly these are the crops that I want to grow. So now with cactus, we do need sand. So we'll go in here, we'll stick sand in that block, and we'll stick cactus there. And now our cactus is growing. It starts at 1 block, and it grows up like that. Nice. And then we're also going to need sand for sugarcane. Actually, was sugarcane one of the... It was, yeah. It was one of the things. We can grow pumpkins in here as well. And it's kind of interesting. It makes this little stem, and then the pumpkin grows on the end of the stem. Isn't that cute? That's nice. And once it gets to maximum size, it throws it in the inventory, which we will be later pulling out. Nice. So we now have a pumpkin. And we could also do melons. I don't think I'm going to do melons because I don't really have any need for them. But I am going to do some flax from Actual Additions. As you can see, the Garden Cloche does support a lot of different crops. About the only thing that we can't do in here are trees. So you can see we're also doing some Actual Additions crops here. We got the Actual Additions flax. We got the Actual Additions rice. We can even do ender lilies, although they are quite slow. Not as slow as when you just have them on the ground, but they are very, very slow. So, of course, you can do all the vanilla crops. Wheat, potatoes, carrots, beets, netherwort, of course, on soul sand, pumpkins, melons, sugarcane, cactus, chorus flowers, even mushrooms even, on mycelium. And all the Actual Addition stuff. Coffee, rice, canola, flax. We can do ender lilies. We can also do red orchids. We're going to output to the back of these things. And it does auto output, by the way. So if I put like a chest here, it will automatically output the stuff to it. They do accept a lot of different fertilizers, and they have different values. It'll accept bone meal, of course, just regular old bone meal, and that'll increase our growth rate to 1.25. Fertilizer from forestry will increase it to 1.5, so it'll increase it to 1.5. The way this works is it basically mixes the fertilizer with water, and then it consumes what it has. So right now we have a growth modifier of 1.0 because it already had this water in here that doesn't have any fertilizer in it. Once this empties out, it's going to grab another bucket of water, combine it with a piece of fertilizer, and then our growth modifier will go up. This thing also accepts Actual Additions fertilizer, IC2 fertilizer, and then the PhytoGrow from Thermal Foundation, the various PhytoGrows. And the fastest would be the Fluxed PhytoGrow from Thermal Foundation. That'll double your speed. The fertilizer is almost gone, so now it's going to fill up again. And now you can see our growth modifier is 1.5. And as you can see, it doesn't consume very much fertilizer, just one piece of fertilizer, and that's going to last for quite a while. In this pack, I actually sped up the use of fertilizer. I also have it using a little bit more RF per tick. Normally these guys only take 8 RF per tick and a very small amount of water. Moving on from the cloches, we are now going to take a look at the Bonsai Tree mod. So the one thing that we can't do with the cloches is trees. We can with the Bonsai Pots, though. So the way this mod works is, I'm just going to set a crate there just for looks. I'm going to put a bonsai pot on top. So this bonsai pot is basically a place where we can put a sapling. And if we watch really closely, we will see that sapling begins to grow into a little itty bitty tree. Isn't that cute? Nice. So this is the regular bonsai pot, and it grows this tree. And then we can actually break the tree with an axe. We'll wait till it's done. Nice. Grow a bonsai tree. And all we have to do is right click with an axe and we get oak wood. Sometimes we get sticks, sometimes we get saplings, and then it just starts growing the next one. So that's all well and good, right? And as you can see, this requires no power. It requires nothing. So it's a little bit OP, but it gets even more OP. So if we take this guy and we combine it in a crafting table with a hopper, it is going to do that for us. So then we've got our little hopping bonsai pot. We put a sapling in there. The sapling grows. And it does randomly create like different shaped trees and stuff, just like they would if they grew in the real world, or in the real world, in the, Minecraft world. And we'll see, as soon as it reaches its maximum size, it disappears. Where'd it go? It went down here. So there's our oak wood and there's our stick. So it will output to whatever inventory you put below it. Now, just an FYI, it is not an inventory in itself, so you can't connect pipes to it. So like if we try to connect a connector to it, it doesn't connect. So we actually do have to have some kind of an inventory in order for it to output to. So that's why I'm putting this reinforced storage crate, and I'm using a reinforced storage crate just because it looks good there. I like the way it looks. So I'm going to make a few of these. I'm going to put them against this back wall, and then we're just going to pipe out of the reinforced storage crate, and it'll end up filling up that crate eventually. It's moving day. I'm using a moving wand from Not Enough Wands. I can pick up the storage drawers. Of course, we can also use packing tape from the storage drawers, but of course, this is way easier. We do that. It's going to place it the same way that it was facing when we picked it up. So it was facing the south, so it's still facing the south, but we can just take our morphing tool or just about any wrench and rotate it. I'm ready to start moving some items around. As you can see, these guys are all full already. Well, except for this one. We got one ender pearl from this guy. And we used like almost all that fertilizer already. So I'm not even really sure if the fertilizer helps with the ender lilies. If we want to produce these faster, we're probably just going to have more garden cloches, which is fine. Like we could have a whole bunch of freaking garden cloches with ender lilies. I don't really think we need that. I mean, I've got enough ender pearls to last for, well, they're not in there anymore, but to last for quite some time. So over here, I've got a bunch of storage drawers set up. I kind of set them up to look almost like a little market table so that this is where we come and we look at all the wares and buy, find whatever we want to buy. Of course, we're going to have access to all this stuff within our refined storage system, but just putting them here to make them look nice. And then also we're going to be using storage drawers to kind of help manage the inventory. So we have drawers for all of the things that we're getting from our hopping bonsai pots. And I've got 3 of them set up over here now, and you can see that we've already produced quite a bit of stuff over here. Over here is all the stuff that's coming from our cloches. So we've got some ender pearls. We've got, most of these are already full. Well, a lot of these are already full, so it won't even produce any more of them because it will have no place to put them. So we've got cactuses, we've got pumpkins, we've got sugarcane, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we can see what we've got. We're also producing string from flax. And then our seeds are over here. I've got void upgrades on the seed drawer. Actually, I need to put one on that one too. I've got void upgrades on the seed drawers because eventually we're going to fill up with seeds, and I don't care. Then we'll just void the rest of them. The same with these guys. We're going to be voiding saplings. We're almost full of saplings. And this thing is also giving us leaves, which is kind of crazy, but hey, I might actually put a void. I'll probably put a void upgrade on the apples as well. I just want to make sure that we always have a full drawer of oak wood. That's the main thing I'm concerned with. We're also going to get sticks. I'm going to put a void upgrade on that as well. I've got XNet connected to the bottom of these reinforced storage crates. All of these drawers are connected through oak trim. So I've got oak trim going down into the floor over here so that all of these oak drawers are a part of one network. And if we look downstairs in my brand new basement, we'll see I've got these oak trims running all along here and then into our drawer controller, which has a XNet connector connected to it here, so that we can have access to our storage drawers in our XNet system. And then of course I've got connectors. Oh, actually I need to connect these connectors to the rest of the network. Connecting to the crates underneath our bonsai trees. And then I'm going up through the floor here. I've got a facade here that looks like the marble, so that we can run the cable through the floor. And then that's connected over here. I kind of hid the controller out of the way a little bit. I had to put it, well, I put it upstairs because it was easier to get power into it that way. I mean, it does use a little bit of power. So all we're going to do here is we're going to create a single item channel, and we're going to extract from all of our cloches. So extract, may as well do a stack at a time, why not? And we're going to do the same thing with these reinforced crates. So we're just extracting everywhere. And then all we have to do is insert into our drawer controller, and we'll be done with this part. However, before we do that, I just want to make sure that we don't have anything in our refined storage system that is supposed to be out here, because I want everything out here of these types of things. I did add the void upgrades to these drawers and this one and this one. And now we can start inserting into the drawers. So all we have to do is click crate, and that's it. It's automatically going to input. These crates are all empty now because everything got pulled over here. And all our sticks and saplings. This thing will hold 1,024 saplings. We've got our 24 leaves, and it's just going to void whatever more saplings it gets. Unfortunately, the Garden Cloche does not support inventory capabilities. It just outputs to whatever inventory is behind it. And XNet connectors are not inventories. So the same would be true for like Ender IO pipes or something like that. So you actually have to have something that has an inventory. So I'm changing the setup a little bit so that it's outputting to this tiny chest. Okay, there we go. Doesn't look quite as cool, but whatever, it's fine. So now we just need to do the same thing here. So we're going to extract from all of these little mini chests. And the only reason I used mini chests is just so that it doesn't have to produce as much. We could just put a full chest back there and it would eventually fill it up. All right, we got stuff coming in. Hooray! You can see our rice. Yeah, you can see our rice is going up. Or it was. Now our rice seeds are coming in. Cool. So this is all fully automated. And of course, when these drawers are full, so right now we have a full drawer of sugarcane. So it's just going to stop producing sugarcane because eventually this inventory is going to get full. Because this one's full. Because that one's full. So this will just stop producing when everything is full. And it'll no longer use resources. Nice. So now the last thing we need to do is to get this stuff hooked into our refined storage system. It was over here. So I'm just going to take an external storage and stick it on this drawer controller and then run some cables. And then we're done. Hooray! And I'm going to set the priority of this high. We'll set it to like 30 or something like that. So that way if we get any of those items in the system, it's going to grab them, or it's going to put them there first. There we go. We're all connected. Hooray! So now if we look in here, we'll see we have our oak planks, 2,398. That seems like a strange number, but that's probably what we've got. Let's see. Yep, 2,398, and we can see we've got our 1,024 wheat. Nice. So this is a complete build. Hooray! There's one more thing I want to do before we leave today, and that is I want to make this door open and close automatically when I approach it, but I don't want to just do like pressure plates and cheap stuff like that. I want to actually make it kind of interesting, where when we approach it, both doors slide open, and when we come in, both doors slide shut, but that it will only do that for us and not for like mobs. We're going to use the sensor from RF Tools in order to sense our presence, and then we're going to just do some vanilla redstone. So we're going to have a sensor here that's going to be pointing down, so we're going to click on the bottom side of the block. This is where the sensing is coming from. That's technically the front of the sensor, but it's pointing up. So we're going to say that we want to sense players, just players, in area 3, which means 3 blocks in front of the sensor. So that means here, here, and here. So when we stand above that sensor, actually, if we place a piece of redstone down here, we'll see. Oh, and we have to tell it how many. When there's 1 player, give us a redstone signal. So when we go above this, you can see it's giving us a redstone signal. And when we go away, the redstone signal goes away. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just I'm going to break this block that I placed that sensor against. And I'm going to just put a NOT gate. And I'm going to do this on both sides so that both of the doors are controlled by this. And we're going to run some redstone into that block from here. And so now we've got the one door being controlled. And then, of course, we're just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Yay! Now, do that same thing right about here. So, Actually, you know what? Let's just put it there so that it's the same on both sides. So we've got the sensor here. I'm going to break this block. Put that redstone torch back up there. And players, area 3. I already did that one. And we're going to have to break out some blocks here. So we're making a little bit of a redstone mess here, but whatever. Sometimes you got to do that in Minecraft. There. We could possibly make this a bit more compact using RF Tools gates. But this should work. Wait, why is it not sensing us? Oh, it's turned the wrong way. Whoops. Can we turn that? Probably not. Oh, we can. Oh, nice. Okay. Hooray! Okay, cool. Is that the right block? It is. Okay. Okay, actually, I wouldn't mind that happening a little bit sooner. We could actually put up a couple of these sensors to kind of expand the range. So I'm going to try placing just one more sensor here. Of course, it's sensing a block. But we want to change it to players, area 3, 1. Okay, so that's off. Yeah, that's better. Yay! So in the next episode, we are going to get into RF Tools Dimensions. Hooray! If you do have any questions, comments, or ideas, or whatever, about the cloche, about the bonsai trees, about anything else that we did today, or whatever, anything, whatever, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.